fans, come on into the Postgame Show presented by Ricoh. I'm Gabriella DiGiovanni here with Fran Duffy. And I agree, fellas, it was time to get going in the NFC East. Big road trip up to the Meadowlands, and the Eagles couldn't get it done. It was rough. The first half, there was a lot of difficulty, some struggle. The second half, it was Eagles' time to shine, make those halftime adjustments. In the end, it came down to a nail-biter. Yeah,
I got to be honest with you. The football team we saw out there today is a team I didn't recognize from the last month. You know, the team over the last month played a brand and a style of football where they wanted to dictate the physicality in the game, run the ball down your throat, control the line of scrimmage, control the time of possession. Today, we didn't have that going. And that's not to mention the 4 turnovers in the game. You're not winning a football game in the NFL turning the ball over 4 times, much less turning it over 4 times on the road. So when I say this team is a team that I didn't necessarily recognize from over the last month, this isn't the style of football that they've been playing the last month. And it's unfortunate because this is the time of year where you have to be playing your best football. And the Eagles had done that 3 out of the last 4 weeks, and I thought they had found their stride. But this goes to show you that when you play divisional games in this league, you can throw out the records. I mean, and that's what today was. This was one of those games where the Giants found a rallying cry. They fired Jason Garrett last week. Freddie Kitchens was the play caller today. They came out with some new wrinkles. Fran, you and I, we talked about this on Eagles game plan this week about trick plays, things of that nature. And it seems like the Giants offense fed off of that. But more than what the Giants were able to do today, this game was more about what the Eagles were not able to do today, and that's protect the football and run the football at will. We saw it in spurts, but not like we have over the last month.
Yeah, I mean, the number, that 4 turnover number was key because the Eagles were not able to force a turnover defensively in this one. You have 4 turnovers on offense, 3 interceptions, obviously that crucial fumble there on the second to last drive. But I think, too, the other big thing, they just could not find a way to get a big reception down the stretch where Jalen Hurts was able to deliver the football, some catchable throws that you would say, hey, that's a tough catch, but you'd like your guy to be able to make that catch, right? So a couple to Jalen Reagor on the back end, Dallas Goedert one along the sideline late in that game as well. Those are some of the plays that certainly those guys are going to be wishing they could have back on their bus ride home.
Like, I echo exactly what you had to say, and that it was that things that we've seen from the Eagles work and be so successful the past 4 to 5 weeks, we didn't see today. Turnovers alone. The Eagles have played very clean football games as of late. Obviously, the run game has been the star of the show, and that was difficult to get going today as well. The strengths of the Eagles team have been the offensive line and the defensive line. They didn't look like they were playing the same. Obviously, the offensive line, they were dealing with some injuries across the way as well today, which was unfortunate to see. But still, it just did not look like what we've been seeing. And you know, the Eagles have been getting a lot of credit recently, and well-deserved.
So, yeah.
However, you speak to Jalen Hurts this week, and he says, I don't listen to any of it. Good or bad, I don't listen. And so you trust that when players aren't listening. They're blocking it all out. Yeah. But today, I don't know if they're listening. I don't know if they hear it. But it looked like they could not keep up with what's been working out well for them.
Well, today's game is one of those reminders where you're never as good as you think you are and you're never as bad as you think you are, right? So as well as the Eagles have played over the last 4 weeks, this game has a way of humbling you, right? Sure. And make you go back to the drawing board, and maybe you have to adjust some things and correct some things. And I don't want to say the Eagles came into this game overlooking the New York Giants because I don't believe that was the case. I want to give the Giants credit for playing a good football game today. But the Eagles still, with this game, if nothing else, it shows us that they haven't arrived yet, right? Mm-hmm. So there's still more room to grow. They have been headed in the right direction. They're ascending. It's a football team that's found its identity. But like every other team in this league, you have to update your resume every week. And what the Eagles did the previous weeks didn't necessarily matter today to the New York Giants. They were going to make you beat them a different way. They tried to force the Eagles into throwing the football. You talk about the injuries. Jason Kelce going out of the game, I think that played a huge part in why this offense sort of just bumbled around for a while there. You know, Nate Herbert getting in there, a chance to play. But Fran will tell you, when you're used to having a guy like Jason Kelce out there, there's a certain level of comfort he brings to everyone on the offense. Absolutely. He understands where the blitzes are coming. He helps Jalen with setting the protection. The running backs, any other young player that may have any type of hesitation as to what they're supposed to do, you listen to Jason Kelce, he's going to put you in the right position. he missed, 3 or 4 series there?
Yep.
And the Eagles could not move the football. You saw when he came back in, they were able to move the football. But when they look back at this film, this is going to boil down to not scoring in the red zone. Right before the half, Jalen, you can't have that interception. You got to get points on the board right there. That was a bad interception there. But then also other missed opportunities where Jalen put the ball where someone could have caught it. They didn't come down with it. And I would ask this question. Devontae Smith, I didn't really notice he was involved in the game. Now, maybe it was something the Giants were doing to sort of take him out of the game. But when your best weapon doesn't seem to be involved in the game, it's going to be hard to win.
From the second drive until the last drive, we didn't see Devontae Smith. He had that 14-yard completion early in the first quarter, and then he had that one halfway through that last drive just there before the end of the game. So Devontae clearly not as big of a factor. My guess is we saw James Bradbury, number 24, shadowing him. I think that had something to do with it, but the Eagles just, as I alluded to earlier, couldn't find a way to make that big catch. That's a guy that's been making some of those big catches for them so far over this last month.
Devontae and Dallas Goedert, pretty quiet. Again, maybe it was what the Giants were showing, but they've been 2 huge targets for Jalen Hurts in the past few weeks, Devontae Smith more specifically. But of course, right before December, you don't want to start the playoff talk and, we control our own destiny. But the Eagles, all they had to do was win. And they don't want to be in a position where they need to rely on other teams to win or lose. So this is a bigger loss than perhaps other losses, because now we're getting down to the wire. There's a lot of NFC East opponents up next, and now they're going to be clawing their way through the month of December.
Yeah, and when you have teams that on paper, and I know the games aren't played on paper, but when you have teams that you should beat because you're just a better team, you don't want to give these games away. But again, when you're talking about a divisional opponent, you can almost throw that stuff out the window. The Giants seem to have found the motivation to play seemingly their best game from a defensive standpoint today, and the Eagles just weren't able to capitalize. We talked about Jalen a little bit, and no Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert. And again, I don't know if this is just due to the defense that the Giants wanted to play and taking away the Eagles' 2 number 1 passing threats in Goedert and Smith. But I noticed Jalen Hurts throwing the football wasn't comfortable throwing the football, and at times tried to force the ball into situations which we hadn't really seen him do throughout the year. He's been very good at being able to take care of the football, take what the defense is giving you. But when you aren't scoring points and you aren't extending drives, there's times where the quarterback feels a little more pressure to keep that drive going, to put points on the board. And I thought Jalen made a couple of ill-advised throws today where you could tell he was just pressing because he felt like he had to give the offense a spark.
Yeah, I think to me, you alluded to it earlier, the situational football just was not there for the Eagles today. They're 4 of 11 on third down, 1 of 2 in the red zone. One of those Jalen Hurts interceptions was inside the 20. The other was just outside the 20. You mentioned the Nate Herbig, him coming in for Jason Kelce. That holding penalty that took the Boston Scott touchdown off the board, that eventually led to a Hurts interception. So you had points coming off the board, just inability to execute in some key situations, and then obviously that final drive, some of those incompletions. So a lot of the self-forced errors, those self-inflicted wounds that you hate to hear about. I think as an Eagles fan, you hate hearing that term at this point, but that was the tale of this tape today.
There's definitely has to be frustration for the players because you feel like, we started to turn that corner. We started to turn the corner in terms of Jalen Hurts' development. We saw consistency. We started to turn the corner in terms of Nick Sirianni as a first-time head coach, as Jonathan Gannon taking over the defense. Things felt like the pieces were falling into place. Obviously, you're not going to play your best football every single week. But like you said, to drop one like this, it's going to hurt a little more.
Yeah, and, I can't wait to hear Jalen, speak after the game just to get his thought process and what he was seeing out there and what went into some of his decision-making out there on the field. When you're the quarterback, not only are you the tone setter, but you're also the gatekeeper when it comes to making sure you protect the football and having ball security out there. Defense did an outstanding job against this Giants offense today. The Giants were without many of their star players, but they had Saquon Barkley out there. They didn't have Kadarius Toney out there, but they had other weapons out there. And I thought the defense did a great job of keeping them off the board. This, to me, boils down to what our offense wasn't able to do. They weren't able to get the ball in the end zone, and then more importantly, there were times where it felt like we forced the ball in some situations and ended some key drives where we could have came away with some points. The quarterback position is so pivotal when you're playing in close games. His decision-making is always going to be magnified when it leads to negative plays. And when your quarterback throws 3 interceptions, it's hard to win in this league, especially on the road.
Yeah, I think a big part, we talked about how the efficiency on first and second down has always kind of helped the Eagles get into a position to be successful on third down. Well, I talked earlier about the inability to succeed on third down in this game. When you look at how they were able to run the football, or the inability to consistently run the football, the only time you really felt great about it was that touchdown drive that ended with the Boston Scott touchdown. And I think when you look at that game or that drive, you saw such a wide variety of plays. The Eagles ran the ball like 7-8 times in a row, and you saw inside zone, split zone, different gap schemes, some read plays, some RPOs. They just were going left, right, everything that you could have done to mix things up. The Eagles did a great job of keeping the Giants on their toes. That was the only drive where you really felt that. Obviously, part of that is because of the Jason Kelce injury. You had some penalties that brought the behind the sticks. So some of these negative plays, that can hurt you. But the inability to consistently run the ball throughout the course of the game, that hurt them here today.
I'm wondering if there is more development to be done in terms of understanding how to execute halftime adjustments. It was something we saw the Eagles struggle with early on in the season. The past few weeks, we've seen halftime adjustments be executed very, very well and very smoothly. Today, I thought, okay, they're going to adjust at halftime and it's all going to change. The momentum's going to shift. But it didn't feel like, obviously, in the second half, those halftime adjustments were executed. So is that something from a locker room perspective, what they talk about, what they do, what they break down at halftime, that perhaps needs to change?
I thought the opportunities were there. I just think we needed to capitalize on them, right? I thought the game plan coming out in the first half was a solid game plan. We missed on some execution plays. Yep. You turn the ball over down there. You got to get points on that final drive before the half. We walk away with nothing, then we get the ball coming out at halftime, and we don't do anything with it. I didn't think that the adjustments were as much of an issue as it was our execution. Right? Hey, we got to find a way to get Devontae the ball. I mean, you just can't have a player of his magnitude go that long of stretches without touching the football, especially when you're struggling to extend drives or put the ball down the field in chunk plays. And then when we had opportunities to catch the ball, you got to come up with the catches. I mean, there are times there where Jalen Reagor had an opportunity to catch the ball. Ball hits you right in the hands. You got to catch it. Dallas Goedert, when you get those rare opportunities, you got to catch the ball. And I think if you have more of those, then the offense is in less of a panic mode, and they can be in more of a mode of we're in control. I felt like even though the Eagles, when they were down 10-0, and it was early in the second half, we didn't need to panic, but I almost felt like we played that way, as if we needed to hurry up and score. And when you do that, the quarterback is thinking more or less like, I need to make a play versus let me just take what the defense is giving us and we'll just move the ball down the field meticulously.
And that's the thing, too. When you talk about the halftime adjustments, I was just looking at the drive chart. Defensively, they give up 3 points in the first half. They come out. The only touchdown they allowed was on the short field that the Eagles gave them after the turnover on downs to open the second half. So I thought defensively, game plan was sound. The only points they gave up were on the short field, and then they gave up that field goal late. It was in the third quarter, or the fourth quarter, rather, where that was that long drive, 12-play drive. They converted a couple third downs. That was the toughest drive. They only ended up giving up 3 on that drive, though. And so I thought defensively, they did a good job of being sound. Obviously, 13 points is a winning formula. Just offensively, 4 turnovers, a turnover on downs, which I haven't necessarily really talked about. It's a 5th turnover, a couple 3-and-outs. That's one of those days.
I just think it's an interesting juxtaposition that in the first half of the season, it felt like the fourth quarter is when the Eagles came alive. And they were putting points up on the board, whether it was in garbage time or not. And there were, we're going to go over to Nick Ciriani at the podium.
Yeah, you can't turn the ball over 4 times and expect to win. So when you lose a turnover battle 4-0, I mean, nothing good's going to come from that.
What was the offensive game plan today? What was the thinking behind what you guys were trying to do?
Pardon me?
Game plan coming in offensively.
Yeah, we wanted to continue to try to run the ball like we were. I think we ran the ball pretty well. Again, protect the football, not create short fields, and then be able to hit some of our play action chunks. And, we obviously did one of them well. We didn't do the other two well enough.
Before the last play, it looked like Devontae Smith came over to you. What did he say there?
Yeah, he wants the ball in a critical situation like that. They were playing two-man in that scenario. They had played it 3 snaps in a row. There was two-man on that one as well. And so, the type of play that he wanted in that scenario wasn't going to be good. But I love the fact that he wants the ball in crunch time and wants it on his shoulders when the game's on the line, and that's what he was telling me, and I respect that. We had to do what we thought was best for that one with the coverages they were playing, and we didn't execute.
Did you get a good look at that play? It did seem like he was
off the scramble. Yeah, you know what? I saw him put his hand up off the scramble. I didn't see where the safety was, to be honest with you, Jeff, right there. So my eyes just kind of filtered in with the rest of it, and so we'll look at it on tape. But he wasn't open on the initial part. It was definitely off the scramble if that was the case.
Nick, what's your take on the production and play of Jalen Ricoh?
Obviously in that scenario right there, he made a really good play at the end of the first half. He's going to want the one at the end of the game, but it never comes down to one play, right? We turned it over 4 times, right? So there's a lot of other things at play there, and so I know he's going to want that one back. I know why you're going there with the question, and he's going to want that. He's going to want that one at the end of the game back. I didn't see if anyone got a hand in on it. I don't even see if anyone grabbed his arm at the end of the play, but he's going to want that one back. We gotta do some things to get him some touches because he is an explosive player. We missed him on a 4th down play on a slant that I thought he ran a pretty good route on. But right now he's not having a ton of production. That's a little bit based off of how we're playing on offense. But we're going to need him as we continue through the stretch.
What did you make of Jalen? Explosive enough that you should be prioritizing him in the offense at this point?
Well, I don't know if we're completely prioritizing him in the offense at this point.
You're saying getting him.
Yeah,
getting him plays.
yeah. Is he explosive enough? No doubt. In his body, he's got explosive playmaking ability. He's one of our fastest guys. He's one of our quickest guys. He's one of our strongest guys. And so, we do. We want to make sure we be able to get him some touches. The way we've been getting it to him on some reverses, arounds, jet sweeps, screens, they haven't been working. So we got to find a different way to do it, and that's my job first to do so.
What do you make of Jalen Hurts' performance and his decision making today?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's never gonna be a, B, C, or D if you turn over three times, right? And so, obviously he didn't play good enough, and we didn't coach good enough, and it's all of us, right? It's never just one guy. We're gonna look through that tape, and we're gonna have to make those corrections from that tape. But when you turn the ball over 3 times, again, there's different things at play there. But not a winning performance. But running the ball was good.
He limped off the field at one point.
Yeah, he had an ankle. Yeah, he had an ankle. He got it taped up, and so we'll evaluate that and see what's going on right there. So he was a little bit hobbled at the end of the game.
You guys were playing better, and the confidence was up. So what do you tell your team after a loss and a performance like this?
Yeah, I think the best messages you have to the team are similar whether you win or lose, and so it's about the process, about going back in there and going to work, and getting better from this tape, and the practice. And like you're right, we were confident. The practice intensity was there all week. We're going to need that again to put ourselves in position to be able to win next game. The detail on walkthrough is going to have to be the same that it was. The detail in meetings is going to have to be the same that it was, and we can't have the mistakes that we had. I thought the defense played a really good game, so I was really pleased with how they played. But ultimate team game, we didn't do enough as a team to win, and we got to get better from those mistakes.
The sequence at the end of the first half, what would you do differently?
Obviously you're talking about the 4-play. So we got ourselves down there. I'm just trying to rehash it in my mind real quick. So we got ourselves down there. We went first play to Greg Ward. I thought that was I couldn't see what exactly happened on the play, whether it was you guys probably saw it better than I did. I didn't see a replay on it. We really felt confident in that play. Didn't work. And then I believe on the 3rd down play, we were on the 3rd down play right there, because I'm not sure, I can't remember what happened on the second play there. Jalen on the, yeah, okay. So, Yeah, that's a play that we've been scoring on a little bit different ways. With the blocking scheme, we've been giving it to the backs a couple times there, but obviously we got ourselves down a little bit. We felt good about running the football there because of the way we had been running it, because we had a timeout. And then, with 8 seconds left, we've had success with the type of play that we called there on that one. The coaching point was, pretty similar to our coaching point in Atlanta, where when we had the scramble at the end of the half and we completed it to Dallas, that we can't really extend it too much, and if we do, make sure we're throwing it away quick. On that one, I know he's trying to make a play, but we just got to put it out of harm's way right there and go. But anytime the plays don't work, right, I'm going to put it on myself first. So we had opportunity to execute some of them, but I didn't put them in good enough positions. Overall, if they didn't work, I didn't put them in good enough positions to execute.
The run numbers were good overall, and you had success down the stretch. But did you feel like you got away from it a little bit during that rough stretch for Jalen?
We saw some things in the play action game and a couple things in the drop back game that we wanted to try to expose. A couple of them, Jeff, were second and longs, and that doesn't mean there's no rule not about running the football on 2nd and 10, right? So, yeah, and I think as we went on, we did a little bit more, but some of it was situational. But sure, when you're in a rut, I'm always going to look at myself first and be critical of myself first. So, yeah, to answer your question, yes.
Devontae and Goddard only had 7 combined targets. Were they doing anything special to take those 2 guys away, or is it just kind of how it went today?
Yeah, nothing in particular. I didn't think. That they doubled Dallas a couple times on 3rd down. Again, I'll have to look at some of the tape to see exactly what they did, but I didn't think they did anything special to him, like with the defensive end hitting him out of the backfield, hitting him at the line of scrimmage. Like I said, there was a couple doubles. They put Bradbury on Devontae, but I felt good about that matchup still. But that's just the way the game went today. Again, we still, those are our 2 best playmakers in the passing game. Passing game wasn't good enough, so of course it's going to start with we got to get him the football more. He had did it come back or what? He came back. He came back. I can with that, but it was his knee. Yeah.
Was Miles not out there at the end because of injury
or? So he had that foot. I think he had one more carry after his ankle or foot. I got to get more information. I haven't met with the medical staff right yet, and so yeah, I thought Boston was carrying the ball well. He's going to want that play back, obviously. We have to be able to protect the football. That's been our success and our formula of playing efficient offense is protect the football, be efficient in the run game, and efficient in the play action. And we didn't do like I said, 2 out of the 3 of them. But Miles wasn't in that particular case right there because we felt Boston was going good and that he was a little bit dinged. So I'll have more information for you guys tomorrow.
All right, thanks.
Thanks everybody.
That was head coach Nick Sirianni answering a variety of questions about decisions and also his evaluation on some of player performances. He did mention the running game, and obviously, kind of his theme is playing the hot hand. He's been saying that a lot the past few weeks, and he thought as though Boston was the hot hand at the time, and that's why they stuck with him. But, of course, the running game, unfortunately, when you're down Jordan Howard, who at the time was filling in for Miles Sanders, who was down, you're going to see some rotation. But I thought Boston, up until that last play, unfortunately, had a pretty decent game against the Giants.
Yeah, as he typically does. We know him as the Giant killer. And so I don't have a problem with Boston Scott being out there. As long as he's being productive, he's getting positive yards. This is a running back by committee. The coaches usually ride the hot hand. With Miles, you don't know if he's banged up, if he's at full strength. So to put a completely healthy Boston Scott out there, I have no problem with that. He usually doesn't put the ball on the ground. That was certainly an unfortunate situation there. But when that happens, people are going to want to know, well, why wasn't Miles Sanders out there on the field? So I'll trust the coaches' rotations, their feel. Boston is very he's very equipped to being able to be out there and warrant those touches. but obviously you don't want him to put the ball on the ground.
To me, that's the big thing is that, in that scenario, you don't want the ball to be out on the ground.
Yeah.
And look, when you look at Boston Scott over the course of his career, he's been a decisive runner. He's quick. He's reliable catching the ball out of the backfield. He hits the run where it's supposed to go between the tackles, and he's got some juice to be able to get to the perimeter. In this game, I thought he ran hard. Obviously, that fumble is going to be the play that sticks out.
He didn't have to answer too many questions about the defensive side of the ball. We did talk about they did have success today. Of course, TJ Edwards again flying around. Alex Singleton stepping up as Davion Taylor has been injured. Again, the linebackers showing up big. And big day for Derek Barnett and Milton Williams getting a sack as well.
Yeah, I thought the defense played well today with the exception of the run from Saquon Barkley, right? I think it was like 30 yards. His longest run of the season. That had more to do with Saquon being patient and allowing blocks to develop, and he hit that outside. I thought the Eagles' defense was on the attack today. I thought Jonathan Gannon called a nice game. He mixed up his pressures versus his coverages, whether he was in man versus zone. When you put Darius Slay on your best receiver, what tends to happen is quarterback's going to go to the other side. And so guys like Steven Nelson are going to have to step up. But I thought our front seven, for the most part, controlled the line of scrimmage today. You see Alex Singleton there today. I think he led the team in tackles. He was like a magnet to the football. Derek Barnett probably had his best game of the season as he was seemingly in the Giants' backfield all day today.
I mean, Saquon Barkley finished 13 for 40. So he had
that 30 plus on the one carry.
32 yards on the one, so he went 12 for 8 on those other carries. That's pretty impressive by the defensive front.
Absolutely, and the defensive front, the thing they've done best is making quarterbacks uncomfortable. We've seen it all year. Now, of course, Daniel Jones isn't Patrick Mahomes, but he still was uncomfortable. They still were consistent, and that's the biggest thing. Consistency with this defense, we've certainly seen that the past few weeks.
Yeah, I almost felt like Freddie Kitchens put a game plan together out there today so that Daniel Jones could survive the game. Not so much put the offense on his shoulders and have him carry them, but he also didn't want to put too much on his shoulders to where he would lose the game for him today. It's one of the rare games where Daniel Jones has not turned the ball over in his career. He usually gives the ball to you. He did a good job not putting the ball in harm's way, so there weren't a lot of opportunities for us defensively to
I have to cut you off. We have Jalen Reagor at the podium.
John, what happened on the last two passes that hit your hands?
Just two drops that I would say very uncharacteristic, but just gotta go through the highs and lows and go to the next week and make the plays.
How do you recover from that personally?
Just keep going. I mean, I had catches and stuff like that, so I just gotta keep going, just not get down on myself.
The last one, what was kind of going on that play? And it seemed like you got Jalen was running around, you were running around. Just kind of describe what happened.
It was just a scramble drill, just him breaking the pocket and just something we do in practice, just a scramble drill.
Conversation like with Jalen after the game? Obviously, we saw how disappointed you guys were.
Just keep going. Him, the coaches, everybody just told me to keep going. We got each other back.
Jalen, do you feel any pressure to live up to being a first-round draft pick?
I would say nah, not really. It just depends on what you're talking about. But when it comes to living up to something, no.
Why was it important for you to talk to us after this game?
Just take ownership. I mean, it's not on one person or one specific thing. Just take ownership for what happened, in that scenario.
So next time you're in that situation, I guess in that situation, what would you do differently?
I mean, I wouldn't say next time I'm in that scenario, but it's just like I said, it's just a drop, just like, any receiver could have. So it's nothing that I just would say put myself in that position.
What about the play a couple plays before? What happened on that one?
It was a good pass by Jalen. I felt like he kind of was on my back, but like I said, it's just plays that we got to make. So,
Were they concentration drops or?
Nah, just a drop. Just drop the pass.
The team has been running the ball a lot lately. You haven't had as many catches or as many opportunities like the other receivers. Has your confidence been affected at all?
Nah, because like I said, every week I'm doing what they ask me to do. Whether it's on special teams or whatever the case may be. So it's just whatever get us a win. That's what I'm fine with.
How much of a setback is this after the last couple of weeks, and then Dallas losing on Thursday, giving you an opportunity
Man, I just feel like, like Jalen always says, everything's still in front of us. So we still got an opportunity next week. And, I mean, just I would say stay positive and just try to do what we can to get, stack up these wins.
You talked about, the lessons you learned last year and sort of staying off social media and
Right.
stuff like that. Will you find it hard to not go on social media after this?
Nah, Like I said, you got to take the heat. So it's not really, you got to think it's people. I would say now it don't hold as much weight to me, so it's fine. Like I said, this was for me to take ownership, so whatever's going to be said is going to be said regardless.
Now the offense has really shifted to be run-oriented over the last month, and that has certainly affected you in terms of targets. How have you been able to kind of keep a positive mental frame of mind?
Like I said before, just whatever gets us a win, regardless of what I have to do or sacrifice, it's fine with me.
How about the offense in general? Really struggling today. Anything you could put your own?
Just getting going early and finishing in the red zone. So just things that we can do as an offense together, and just putting ourselves in better spots and ultimately getting the job done.
Is there anything you can take, Jalen, from your career that can be applied to this situation, knowing how to handle it, process it, and move forward?
That's what you do. Anything. That's what you do in life. You have bad days, you have a good day. You just got to move forward because tomorrow still got to be here. I still have to go practice. I still have to play next week. So you can't too much dwell on it. But like I said, just me taking ownership and then moving forward.
Okay, thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
That was wide receiver Jalen Reagor taking the questions, taking the heat, but very professional as always. And he said, look, I got to play next week.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, as a professional, when you got to go out there and face the music, when you're involved in pivotal moments of the game and they don't necessarily turn out the way you expect them to or want them to, you're going to have to go out there and answer for them. And, Jalen should be commended for that, whether or not he wanted to speak or he was requested to come out there, the fact that he came out
you're getting cut off again. We
Love
have
it.
Boston Scott.
He made a good play. I didn't, it was a critical situation, critical drive, and I just didn't get it done. I didn't resort to my fundamentals. It resulted in a turnover.
You were sitting on the bench for a long time by yourself after the game while everybody was shaking hands. What was going through your head?
Just fundamentals, man. You know what I mean? Just fundamentals, The teams that are great are the teams that can resort to their fundamentals under pressure. You know what I mean? And so I don't have any problem taking full responsibility. Hey, that was a critical mistake at a critical moment in the game. I take that. I take that right to the chin. Most definitely. You can say this, you can say that, but that was a critical turnover at a critical time, and I take full responsibility for that. That was on me.
Reagor just came in here and talked about him just having 2 drops. You made a point of coming in and talk about your fumble, even though he had a touchdown. What is the accountability level on this team compared to other teams that you've been around?
Big time. I mean, we come inside and, people are talking about, man, that's my bad on that. That's my bad on this. That's my bad on that. Everybody taking accountability for their mistakes. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I think that's what it's all about. It shows a lot about a team, what happens in the rough times, what happens in the valleys, you know what I'm saying? But if you can take, accountability, learn from the mistakes, correct them, that's all you can really do.
What was Nick's message to you guys after the game?
It hurts. It hurts. They didn't do anything to beat us. We beat ourselves. That's been the name of the game. That's what we done. We've shot ourselves in the foot, whether it's, penalties, whatever it may be. It's not really what the other teams are doing, it's what we're doing to ourselves. So he just said this one hurts, make the corrections, back at it.
Is it any more frustrating now after it seems like a lot of those self-inflicted mistakes, you kind of gotten over them?
Yeah, I mean, it's always, it always stings a little bit more whenever it was self-inflicted. You know what I'm saying? It's something that, could have been prevented if you, again, comes back to the fundamentals, so.
Austin, when you mentioned fundamentals, is that just straight ball security? Like, what would you have done differently?
To be honest with you, just the fact that I'm at the line of scrimmage or about to break through, I should have covered it up with 2 hands before I broke into the, open field. Just got greedy. got greedy, saw the green, eyes got big, and lost my fundamentals.
You guys had a lot of success on the ground again. Were they doing anything to try and stop it, or were they throwing extra guys into the box?
Yeah, they did some things. They were bringing some guys into the box. They had they were getting into some fronts to stop the run, and but our offensive line did a great job all day. Taking what they were giving us. We knew going into this game with all the changes and all the adjustments that were going on at the organization, we're going to see some new stuff. But they, again, tribute to all the coaches. They put a great game plan together. They did a great job adjusting. Offensive line was doing their thing. Coach Stout, can't give him enough respect and praise. Same thing with Coach Jamal Singleton. Can't give him enough respect and praise with preparing us for whatever. And it's.
I'm sorry, in the final parts there, when Sanders got banged up, how did you view that opportunity for you?
I was just doing my job. You know what I mean? I'm not looking to, I got to do this, I got to do that. That's never that definitely gets you beat. That definitely, get you jacked up. I was just going in there, just doing my best to do my job, and be consistent. That's really all I wanted. But like I said, made a critical mistake, own up to that 100%, say whatever you want. That was a critical mistake.
How much of a letdown was it to not come away with any points at the end of the first half? I think you got the ball down to the lawn and you guys can jam through the interception.
It is frustrating, it's just frustrating. That's all I can say. It's frustrating.
What does it do for your team when a guy like Kelsey, who's like one of the older guys on your team, gets injured, lobbies to go back in, goes in the locker room, comes back out, lobbies to go back, and then ultimately does go back in and produces? What kind of effect does it have?
Just a tenacious dude, man. He's the embodiment of this team. He's the embodiment, in my opinion, of Philadelphia, man. Just gritty, nasty, you know what I'm saying? You might knock him down, but he's going to get right back up. He's going to work hard, blue collar, he embodies the city, man. And so he's definitely a big-time leader. I have a tremendous amount of respect for him and how he's been able to contribute over the years. It's just incredible to watch, incredible to see. And so whenever I make dumb mistakes like that, it really, it really hurts me, because guys like that have been in the league for such a long time, and, you don't know how many years they have left, you know what I'm saying? And so guys like that make me want to give my all.
Last opportunity was this, given that Dallas had already lost this week and you'd want to come on road coming into this game, getting into contention.
Like I said, everything was in front of us. We beat ourselves.
Thank you.
Thanks, Boston.
Boston Scott with those lasting words, we beat ourselves, which in the beginning of the season, we talked about that a lot. Those costly penalties and shooting themselves in the foot. Those were things, like we said earlier in the show, that have gotten cleaned up. So to see a player go up there today and we're back to that old messaging, I know for a guy like Boston Scott, how defeating that must feel for him today.
Yeah.
We're actually going to head back to the podium with TJ Edwards.
TJ, what did they do different with the new coordinator in there? What did you notice?
Nothing that we weren't prepared for. We had a good idea of what they were going to do and kind of how they like to attack things, no matter who the coordinator was. But it was. I thought we fought hard. We battled both sides of the ball, special teams as well. Just didn't make enough plays to win, to be honest with you.
13 points on the road is a pretty good showing. Is there a positive that the defense can take out of this? And you guys have been reconfigured several times. Do you think you took a step forward?
Yeah, I think no matter the outcome, you can always learn from some things that went wrong and also learn from the things that went really well and build off those. And we did some good things, in terms of stopping the run and getting stops when we need it. We wanted to get a turnover or something like that we had a couple opportunities for, and but I thought for the most part the effort just is something that is very positive. Late in the year and guys are still running to the ball, hitting anything they see, and I think you take that as a positive.
Did you get a good look at their touchdown catch on the replay and whether it was good or not?
Yeah, I mean, they call what they call. It was kind of tough to see, but at the end of the day, you gotta live with whatever they call and not let them down there in the first place. So it is what it is.
In the past few weeks, you guys have been hot, obviously. What does this do to that momentum?
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, there's always good and bad to take away from these games, and there's definitely stuff that we need to correct and learn from, but, I think we just did a good job of staying together, making sure that we knew when it was time to get a stop, we got to stop, and, just kind of building off of that, and I thought that the energy all day, no matter, how late in the game it was there, and I think, when you do that, you have a chance any week.
Messaging this week was about not letting overconfidence creep in. Did you sense any of that?
Not really. I think confidence at times is a good thing, and I think no one was being again, we're frustrated with where we're at right now, so no one's high on their horse whatsoever. But I think right now we just want to continue to know that we're a good football team and we can play with anybody. We can compete and we can win, and so I think as long as we keep that, and there's nothing wrong with keeping that attitude.
Thanks, CJ.
Thanks, CJ.
Appreciate you guys.
TJ Edwards, the leader now of that linebacking core. Again, we talked about the defense earlier in the show, but he has definitely been a guy, you hear his name a lot, and he's only getting better and better every week.
Yeah, ever since he's been reinserted into the starting lineup, you can just tell the front seven is just playing a different brand of football, more physical, downhill, attack style. Alex Singleton was moved out of there for whatever reasons, and he was able to step back in there for an injured Davion Taylor today and lead the team in tackles. So I love the fact that TJ is really setting the tone, not only for that linebacker room, but primarily for the run-stopping defense, and he's making plays in the passing game.
Giants 3 for 12 on third down, so the Eagles doing a great job on third down, getting off the field. A couple of those conversions were against the blitz. They got burned on a screen pass and on a cover zero pressure. So the blitz sometimes worked really, really well. Those couple plays, that extended drives, that's part of the problem with playing with blitzing, obviously, is you're going to get burned every once in a while. But overall, this Eagles defense really strong today.
I think what's interesting to think about what the Eagles have coming down the line here is they're going to head back up to MetLife next week to play the Jets, and then they finally hit that bye week, okay? The bye week has been a point of conversation over the season because it comes so late, and so there's been an emphasis, especially the past few weeks, on keeping the guys' legs fresh and keeping them healthy because they didn't have an extended period of time to take that rest in that October-November time frame. So I think what's interesting is, okay, they were just defeated in New York. Now they have a week to prepare to go back to New York, and they need to get a win there before they can finally hit that bye week and get a little break.
I almost forgot they didn't even have a bye week. I'm not used to the bye week being this late in the season, but it is definitely needed for this football team. A little banged up, helped out by the mini bye week after the Tampa game when they played on Thursday night. But yeah, getting a chance to get everybody back healthy. The good thing is that it's just a bus trip up the turnpike to New York. So in other words, they don't have that wear and tear, the traveling that they have to worry about. Driving the bus up the turnpike, hopefully next week.
And you're getting cut off again, Rodney McLeod at the podium.
Position to take a big step forward here with a win. How disappointing is it, if it is disappointing, to walk away with a loss, having given up only 13 points?
Yeah, any loss is disappointing, but particularly this one is a division opponent. We understand what these games mean as we go down this stretch, but we have to play our best each and every week, point blank period. And at the end of the day, we fell short, but there's 5 left, and that's all we could focus on. We got to learn from today, obviously, and understand we can't beat ourselves, but we have 5 opportunities left, and it's what we do with it. We got to make the most of them to put ourselves, hopefully, in a position to be where we want, and that's in the playoffs.
Brett, a few players made mistakes, and they've been accountable. We talked to Boston and Jalen Reagor. As a leader, do you have to make sure that that's funneled in the correct way? Yeah,
one play doesn't define the game. One player or one moment in the game doesn't define the outcome. I understand for those guys, man, we put a lot into it, and those guys want to be in a position to make the plays. And
they're both great players and have made a lot of plays for us. And so we just have to encourage them and let them know, man, that we're with them. We're going to continue to support them and understand that it wasn't the one play that hurt us. There were multiple, but those are the ones that stand out, right? But at the end of the day, continue to have confidence in them, continue to, feed them. Guys like Boston, guys like Rager, they made a lot of plays, and they're going to continue to make plays for this team.
That said, your quarterback threw 3 interceptions in the first 35 minutes. I mean, during the game or after, do you, as a veteran, go up to him and encourage him? Does he need that? I mean, and how do you weather that kind of a storm?
Yeah, I don't think Jalen needs that. He's played this game. And like I said, he understands what he needs to do, and today I know he won't be proud of like his performance, but it's all about how he responds. And I think, he's a guy that will respond to the challenge, will come back next week and make a lot more plays for us. So no need to speak to him. I think, he knows how to handle it.
With Jalen Rager, what's your vantage point on what this season has been like for him and the way that he goes about his business?
They come to work every week, man, and that's all you can do. Jalen's a guy. He's on the return game for us. Give him the ball in space. He makes plays and has the speed. So they're going to continue to feed him. This is just it was just a tough moment for him. But like I said before, it's all about how he responds, and I expect him to respond the right way.
What was the biggest difference you noticed about the Giants' offense this week after the changes they made?
They did a lot of things that we repped. I would say for the most part today, it seemed like they tried to manage the game. Have some run in there, try to attack us in a few ways against our linebackers. But we made adjustments, and we were able to get through. But I think they held true to what they showed on film for the most part.
A few weeks ago, you said time's running out. You guys went on a run then. Like you said, there's 5 games left. How do you view this big picture? Is there enough time here?
I think there is. But at the end of the day, man, like we always say, we just take it 1 week at a time. So for us, it's what do we do wrong today? How do we fix it? And how do we go into next week a better team, get back to work this week, and focus on coming back up here to New York and getting a win on the road versus the Jets.
Roddy, what was your view of that touchdown they scored, 1 yard reception?
You said what was the deal?
What was your view of that? Did it look like he catched it?
Oh, I think the ball was hanging in between his legs. It may have just stayed there. I think if we got there a little earlier, it could have knocked it out. It may have touched the ground. Close call, no telling. But it was like in between his legs when I looked at it. But
on Steven Nelson, what did you see there?
I mean, it looked clean to me. But they called it. We have to live with it and move on to the next play. But it's unfortunate. That was a huge play in the game that shifted and allowed him to score. But I love Steve, man. He's going to continue to play aggressive. That's how we're going to go out. But I think it was clean in my book.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having us.
Jalen, it wasn't your best game throwing the football, especially early. How do you keep focused to make that run late, make some of those throws late, and how do you pick up your teammates when Jalen had his hands on a couple of late passes?
I think this is a situation we've been in before. We've been in a situation like this before, where offensively we failed to get things going early. You see we have success when we do that. We do that at a high level. But today, I put us in a bad situation. I put us in a bad situation with with those turnovers I had in the first half, and especially going in with the opportunity to get points before halftime. So none of those are good by any means. And it's something we'll have to overcome. And we will. I know I never question this team's fight. I never question this team's want to and effort. Simply was one of those days. And it's something we'll learn from as we have before, and stick true to our process and getting better every day and learning from our mistakes.
On that play before halftime, what were you seeing there? And I guess what would you do differently there?
I'd throw the ball away, give us opportunity to get 3 points at worst. It's a bad mistake by me. Simple as that. Bad.
I'm sorry about that. Do you think that sometimes you try to do too much because you have the ability to extend plays and you have the ability to make plays sort of off script?
I don't think I ever try and do too much. I just think I should have just took what they gave me at times. Simple as that. Took what they gave me. Like I said, the situation before halftime. They didn't give us what we were looking for. Just throw it away. Let's save it for a field goal. Get 3 points, 3-3 going into halftime, and doing that. And even on the long pick where I checked out of it, and got to a play. Just taking what they give me underneath, doing that. And got to that later on in the game, and put ourselves in a situation to win the game. Every drive we had the ball, to be honest, in the second half, but. With some things that we just have to be better on, and it starts with me. I know a game like this. Everybody's going to try and take accountability for the things that they didn't do, and that's the mentality we have as a team, good, bad, or indifferent. Everybody's going to hold themselves accountable for the things that they did and the things that they didn't do. I know as a quarterback of this team and as who I am, I put this team in a bad situation in the first half, put us in a very bad situation, and very close to digging ourselves out of it, but wasn't enough.
Were they doing anything specifically to take away Dallas and Devontae?
No, they just played their defense. Their defense is a zone defense. They keep a lot of things in front of them, and that's how they always play. So we just got to take what they give us, and it starts with me. That's me. I got to take what they give us.
Ciriani said that Devontae went to him before that last play and asked for the ball. He said, based upon their coverage, the play that he wanted, he wasn't going to call that. But Devontae still didn't get a target on that last drive. Were you guys talking throughout that, and was it just it just didn't go to him because?
Yeah, we're always communicating out there. I'm always communicating out there, trying to pick their brains, trying to see what the receivers see, and communicating what I see from my end. And I think I have the trust in everybody. I've always said that, and I'll continue to say it. I have trust in everybody out there on that field, and I believe in them to make big plays.
Devontae seemed kind of upset after that last fourth down play, at the end and everything. Like, did you talk to him at all after that? Did he come up to you?
I'm sure he was upset. I was upset too. People express themselves differently, but we came up short in the game. You know what I mean? And that hurts. It hurts, especially in a fashion like this, where we had so many opportunities. In the game to take advantage of it. And, when you turn the ball over like that, which we haven't done, 4 times, when you turn the ball over like that, you don't deserve to win the game.
What's your message to Jalen Reagor after a couple tough plays?
Keep your head up, see it through. Keep working. Go back to the process and keep working. It's the same message I'm giving myself. Not pointing fingers. It's not on Jalen Reagor. It's not on anybody else late in the game. Put it on me.
What play did you hurt your ankle on, Joe?
I don't know. One of those plays.
Looked like in the sack.
You just asked me basically, did I hurt my ankle? Basically, so yeah.
Are you okay?
I'm okay.
This team's been hot. The offense has been hot. What does a game like this do?
Checks your card. Check kind of a check. Who you are, and it's an opportunity to be resilient. It's an opportunity to overcome adversity. Something we've done before, and I have no doubt that we'll do that again. We'll take a lot from this game. I'll take a lot from this game, and we'll move forward and learn from it as a football team. I think
Just got to continue to stick to our process and just stacking every day. We're not worried about the next day or the next game. We're worried about right now, this moment, and take advantage of this moment. And we have film to look at and learn from. We'll move accordingly moving forward.
At 5-7, though, with 5 games left, do you think there's enough time for you guys to do what you want to do?
Play the New York Jets next week. A 24-hour rule. Nothing changes.
Okay.
Nothing changes.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Quarterback Jalen Hurts handling things at the podium as you expected, taking responsibility, being a leader, and looking forward to the next week.
Yeah, not surprised at that at all. Jalen is always going to hold himself accountable. It really sets the tone. You pretty much heard everyone who spoke after the game today own a piece of today's loss, right? We know the quarterback position is the most impactful position, but I love the fact that as a team, these guys know that Jalen is under the microscope right now, and they want to make sure that he knows that they feel like they could have done more also to help. But hearing Jalen speak, wasn't surprised by anything he said. That's just the character that he displays every week. True leadership.
Yeah, there's not much else that needs to be said, right? Is look, I got to play better, and that's across the board. That's what you heard from whether it was Boston Scott, Jalen Reagor, and obviously Jalen Hurts. All these guys kind of echoing that same sentiment.
Well, the bright spot for today, of course, is the defense, holding the Giants to just 13 points. So earlier today, Fran broke down a big third down stop in this week's Ricoh Review.
All right, well, let's take a look at the defensive performance in the first half of this game. They hold the New York Giants to 3 points, and that's the focus here for me in the Ricoh Review. Well, we're going to look at the first third down of the game, and we've seen a big change from the Eagles philosophically on third down in recent weeks, where we are seeing much more man coverage and a lot more pressure. Now, the big thing with pressure, to keep in mind, it's not always about blitz. Sometimes it's about the threat of pressure and making quarterbacks think that there might be something coming. And we're going to look at this defensive front here in a second. But like I said at the top, one of the things we're seeing is an increased use of man coverage. And you see the Eagles here, they are impressed man coverage across the board. TJ Edwards and Alex Singleton at linebacker. They're going to vice the running back, Saquon Barkley. If Barkley runs outside, Edwards will run with him. If he goes inside, Singleton will pick him up, playing in reverse. But like I said, you've got press man across the board here from the Eagles, just one high safety in the middle of the field. Now, if we get to the front, you're going to see that the Eagles have a few guys up on the line of scrimmage, 5 bodies up on the line. But look at where these guys are lined up. You've got Fletcher Cox lined up at defensive end. You've got Derek Barnett lined up as a stand-up inside defensive tackle. Javon Hargrave is lined up right over the center as a nose tackle. Alex Singleton stood up over the guard, and then you've got Josh Sweat standing up off the edge. So everybody in unique alignments, unique techniques, some guys standing, some guys with their hand in the dirt. That makes the offensive line and the quarterback all having to go through that mental Rolodex of who's coming, who's not. Have they shown this before? What could be happening here? And all that's going to happen is you're going to get Alex Singleton dropping off as the whole player in man-to-man coverage. You're going to get Derek Barnett and Javon Hargrave working off a stunt, a little TT stunt between those two guys. And I want you to watch Fletcher Cox. He's going to win off the edge against the right tackle, and that two-man stunt is going to get home. Let's just watch those 3 players as we let this play unfold. And you're going to see Fletcher Cox is going to win upfield. That TT stunt gets home. That's Javon Hargrave getting clean to the quarterback, and that forces an incompletion. So again, just a 4-man rush. That is not a blitz, but that is a blitz look on third down with aggressive man-to-man coverage, and the Eagles get off the field. Just another example here of the change in identity from this Eagles defense on third down in recent weeks.
Now is your chance to vote for the Toyota Player of the Week. Go to PhiladelphiaEagles.com/Toyota Player of the Week to cast your vote and get a chance at a brand new Toyota. All right, guys, here we go. Our 3 nominees, all defensive players. First up, Derek Barnett. 2 tackles for loss today alongside 5 total tackles. Now we have Alex Singleton. Big game for him in that linebacker core today. And lastly, big pet play Slay. There he is, that first quarter pass deflection, like you said, Ike. Quarterbacks don't really want to throw his way. Those are our 3 nominees. No surprise, they're all defensive guys.
Yeah, great job by the defense today. I got to go with the LB. I got to go with Alex Singleton.
Shocking.
tackles for losses. And I just love the fact that he's picking up right where Davion is sort of left off, really picking up where Alex was playing very well earlier in the season. So double-digit tackles today, couple tackles for losses. You really noticed 49 out there on the field.
I'm going to give it to Singleton as well. I thought about going with Derek Barnett in this game. I thought he made a couple of impact plays. But when you look at Singleton, especially the way the Giants wanted to play in the second half, they tried to soak up as much clock as possible. I thought that the Eagles' second level of that defense, led by Alex Singleton, one of the leader in tackles here in this game, did a nice job of keeping Saquon Barkley and that Giants offense off the field.
We have an agreement today on the desk.
That's right.
All right, I like it. Before we turn the page to next week, Eagles fans, there is a new way for you to get a recap of each game. Check out our voice app on Alexa and Google devices. For more info, go to PhiladelphiaEagles.com/voice. Now we can look ahead to next game. They're getting back on the buses and back to the Meadowlands they go to take on the New York Jets, who pushed out a win here today. They are 3-8 on the season. They defeated the Texans, and they will play the Eagles next week at 1 p.m.
Yeah, Zach Wilson, rookie quarterback, back in the starting lineup for the Jets today. Nice win for them on the road, coming from behind against that Texans team. But this is a team in the New York Jets that will give you the football. You know, Zach Wilson, as most young quarterbacks learn in this league, he has too much confidence in his arm at times, and that can get him in trouble. This is a great opportunity for this Eagles defense to continue to build off what they've been doing over the last few weeks and put on another dominating performance.
An interesting wrinkle to this matchup as well. These two teams saw each other in extended practice back in the summer. The extra joint practices up in Florham Park. I was up there for those practices, and two spirited sessions on both sides. Most would say that the Eagles came out on the winning side of those two practices. So it'll be interesting to see round 3 here in this matchup.
Huge opportunity for the Eagles, hopefully getting in the win column before heading to the bye week. Yes. So I'll be all going down next Sunday at 1 o'clock. But that's it for us here on the Postgame Show. I'm Gabriella DiGiovanni for Fran Duffy and Ike Reese. We'll see you next time.